Hi and welcome to Games on Tap, the review show that pairs booze with games the way God intended. Each week, me and two fellow swag folk will look at recent releases and pair them with an appropriate plonk that matches the mood and quality of the game. This week we look at hair bobbing and rain effects and see if they're good enough to take another trip with Lara in Tomb Raider Definitive Edition.
A survivor is reborn. The definitive edition of Tomb Raider puts players back in the shoes of last year's subtle over supple approach to the rebooted Lara Croft, but this time with hair physics. Next-gen owners get to feast their eyes on the prettiest edition of the game yet, but are the updated visuals and add-on content enough to warrant a return to Dragon's Triangle?
Welcome to Games on Tap. I'm Phil and we're here with Mooney and Taryn and we're going to talk today about the Definitive Edition Tomb Raider. Woo. So let's start, Mooney, with why it's Definitive Edition and not a HD or a remake.
I mean, it's definitive in the fact that it's like there's a lot of things that have changed. You know, the skin textures that look that have had work, hair physics, which
great.
Everyone was all on about.
That's all anyone was talking about when I heard Definitive Edition's like her hair, and I went, but you can't have remade a whole game just for someone's hair.
Yeah,
surely
essentially it's the whole hair,
than just hair.
Because you look at the other characters versus Lara, and yeah, the quality in them versus Lara's facial.
Because I remember when I went to play Tomb Raider the first time, I was going to play Bioshock Infinite first.
Yeah.
And then I was recommended that I play Tomb Raider first, because otherwise I'd play Bioshock, then Tomb Raider, and get really disappointed with the way Tomb Raider looked. And now, I think that was a good idea at the time, but now I feel like I would play Bioshock and then Tomb Raider, because Tomb Raider looks so much better.
Now all you have to do is just wait for the Bioshock Infinite Definitive Edition to come out.
Surely they'll bring that.
That's it.
It'll be soon with their best flowing hair.
Yeah, that's it. Elizabeth's hair will be beautiful. And, it's going to be amazing.
I mean, in terms of her hair, because that's what everyone keeps talking about, I did find there were moments when I was playing it and her hair was just so shiny and so pretty and just like swaying pretty in the wind and stuff, and I couldn't stop staring at it. And then other times it looked awful in some parts.
Yeah.
It really didn't look like it was mostly in the cutscenes.
Well, there was that footage you showed me, which had her hair like literally glitching through her a couple of times.
She's at the very start of the game. She's hanging upside down.
Yeah.
And her ponytail's hanging down. And at one point, it just went like back up and then down again. And we went, what? I thought you like it. I don't know. It just feels like it wasn't finished before they brought it out. I think they kind of rushed it to go like, oh, Xbox One, quickly, let's put a game out on Xbox One. Tomb Raider's all we have.
They kind of focused a little bit on Lara, like in general, like even her personality and the way she's voiced seems very good compared to all the other supporting actors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
sort of
I mean the game itself is a brilliant game when you're talking about like just Tomb Raider itself, not even the Definitive Edition. And yeah, like everything about it is great. Like Lara in the sense that she's so fragile and she's a survivor in this game. Like the tagline is "A survivor is born."
Yeah.
Like that final scene. Like in case anyone has still not played it for whatever reason, like she's such a badass.
It's a spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. She's such a badass, and when she's on the ship home, and the guy's like, "We're gonna be going home soon." She's like, "I'm not going home."
I'm gonna raid some more tombs. Name of the game. Yeah. So there's that.
And I feel like, you think back to her humble beginnings back in the 90s when she was not so humble in the chest area. Like, she looks so much better these days.
Yeah.
She's gotten...
a bit more real.
Yeah, a bit more real.
She looks like a person now. I feel like you could actually see her walking down the street rather than it's like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
I guess we can lead on then to, let's see, her change from being nice and innocent to a mass headshotting murderer.
Which takes about 2 minutes,
I think even less than that.
Yeah, of course.
She's crying on the ground and then 3 seconds later you're shooting guys in the head.
Yeah, that one bit is just dead set. One of the moments where I'm just like, what? Like it confused me a lot because for those that don't know, she gets her first kill, and she's like crying and going, "Oh, Roth, what have I done?" And then a couple of seconds later, she's just
the very next scene, she's like, "Okay, now you have to kill everyone so you can get to the next."
That's
area.
it.
Okay.
That's it. And you're like, what? So
I feel it still moves past that quickly. It doesn't quite dwell on that too much, and you kind of get over it.
They probably should have towards the start of the game, because they did have a couple of puzzles where it was much more beneficial for you not to kill anyone, more just to run away from them and hide from them rather than kill them. But I think that should have been more towards the start, and they didn't quite do it that way. There was one later in the game, and I thought, I've got every single gun and every single mod. Why don't I just kill everyone right now?
That's it.
As opposed to just
instead of
hiding.
sneaking past them and doing my stealth business, and
especially when you start getting explosives and things like that.
And like, I'm just gonna set everyone on fire.
You have a bow and arrow that's like the most, like a composite bow, which is just like pretty much taking out everyone. Yeah, it's
headshotting everyone.
That's
in the
it.
game.
That's
I think that's possibly one of the most satisfying things in that game is just with that bow, headshotting.
Yeah, taking out people stealthily, and everyone's going, "What's happened? Oh, you've been shot by an arrow," and then taking them out after that. Yeah, it's something sweet.
Every time you got a new upgrade for the bow, you're like, I'm gonna use this way more.
Yeah. No, I absolutely loved it. Even though the definitive edition isn't that doesn't stray that far from the original game, it's still pretty sweet.
Okay, so what did we play it on? Did you guys both play it on the same console, or
no?
I was an Xbox One kid.
Yeah, so she had to deal with the 30 frames a second, where I got the sweet 60 frames.
Which I feel
sweet
like
60 frames.
That's sweet 60 frames.
Maybe saying this because I play an Xbox all the time. Like, I don't care about the frame
Yeah,
rate.
I mean, this is
really
definitely more of a
don't.
fanboy conversation. You know, I bought it on the PS4. There was that fanboy war on the internet for a while before it came out, saying 60 frames versus 30 frames. Whoa! And I'm like, I can deal with the fact if it's 30 frames or 60 frames, but I was enjoying my PS4 more at the time. Gets my game.
So let's was it that much better, the definitive edition from the original? Is it, if someone that played the original didn't play the definitive edition, is it worth going back?
Nah, I mean, I look, it's a great game and all that, but getting a HD, not a HD release, a definitive release, but essentially it's a HD release. It's not, I didn't think it was necessary to make that, I don't think it was necessary to have a game come out a year after that. Like I was saying to my friends the other day, I remember what I was doing a year ago, playing this same game. Maybe give it 3-4 years, maybe. So
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think if you've played the original Tomb Raider and you just enjoyed it as it is, just leave it as that, because really all you're getting with this new version, it is much better looking, admittedly, but you know what? Yeah. There's next gen games coming out. There's lots of games that are a lot better looking, and I got a couple of extra tombs to explore and some different outfits to try on. I mean, and I don't think that is... I mean, unless you really, really like the game and you must have every copy that there is, you don't need it. Yeah. But then if you've never played it, I would highly recommend it.
Definitely.
Yeah, if you've never played it, go for the definitive.
One of the best games of 2013 for sure.
Yeah.
So.
So how did it feel in terms of being a Tomb Raider game? Did it keep that Tomb Raider feel, or did we move sort of away from the original Tomb Raiders?
I can definitely say it feels like it has an Uncharted vibe to it, but I'm okay with all of that.
That sounds pretty good to me too.
Yeah. When I was younger, I tried playing Tomb Raider when I was younger, and I couldn't get into it. I didn't like it at all. And then when I was like, all right, I'm going to try this one, and when I did, I completely fell in love with it, and I'm never going back, because I know what happened before is nowhere near the same. I love this Tomb Raider. I can't stand old Tomb Raider. It gave me the shits.
Okay, so do we want to have some final thoughts about the game, and what are we going to score it? Yeah,
I mean, I had a lot of thought into this, and I have a little bit of backstory for what I'm going to score it.
All right.
I feel the score in a sense was for me was Jack Daniels. I would drink it with I would play it with Jack Daniels. 2 reasons. My first reason is Jack Daniels just got bought by a Japanese company, and the game is set in Japan. Not that much of a good reason, but it's there. And the other reason is because I feel like I need to feel warm inside for the fact that there's a lot of parts where Lara's feeling really cold and just shivering, and you got to feel for her a lot as well. And I feel I need to be a bit more warm inside for you know, to give us some empathy and everything like that. Yeah.
That seems like a pretty good score.
Yeah.
I like Jack Daniels, so
Jack Daniels
that sounds like a
yeah.
sweet score. And Taryn, what was your score?
I'd give Tomb Raider a nice like clear cider, because I feel like it's a very like fresh and crystal clear game, and it's so nice to drink.
Yep.
And I would give the old Tomb Raider like a kind of a cloudy cider. You know, it's still nice to drink, but it's not as quite as nice to look at.
A bit grittier.
A bit grittier,
Yeah.
but it's, you know, it's still good.
Yeah.
I enjoy both of them, and I love cider, so it gets tops from me.
Nice.
Well, that sounds like some two great scores there.
Thank you.
So thank you for joining us on Games on Tap, and we'll see you all next week for another game.
Young man, do you have swag?